So we're here with Maurice Raisin from Raisin and Family Sugarhouse in Middlebury, Vermont, and Richard Green from Green Sugarhouse in Poultney, Vermont. What are we making today?
I'm making maple cinnamon buns.
Well, I love maple cinnamon buns.
Well, that's good of you. It's all maple products within the recipe, no white sugar.
Great. We're making maple cinnamon buns. Maple frosting, maple
cream for frosting.
And that's where Mo comes in,
and
right?
And my good friend Mo over here is going to make the maple cream. Show you how it's done.
Okay, and you got some maple syrup bubbling away.
I just started, just before we started here, I put in about 3 cups. So we're making a small batch today.
Okay.
Richard is not going to make, tons of
well, he's going to make tons of cinnamon because we
he's going to leave some here for you.
We love maple buns. But
we're just going to make a small batch. And I'm going to try to show people how they can make it in their own kitchen.
Sounds good.
By hand, and we're going to use a mixer to kind of get the process going a little bit faster when it's cooled down to stir it up.
Sounds good. So we got this milk. And what are we doing with this milk?
Well, we've brought it up to basically room temperature, somewhere between 66 and 75 degrees. And to that, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of dry yeast.
Okay, and what kind of yeast? Like actives, self-activating, generic? Self-activating. So this is a really quick yeast that blows up really quick.
Remember, if you get your milk too hot, you'll kill your yeast.
Right.
You don't want to kill your yeast because your yeast is your friend. They're alive.
They are alive.
So you just kind of mix them in.
All right.
If you're concerned about your yeast of being a little old or something, you can do what is called proofing it, and that's where you let it set for a little bit so it starts to like bubble up.
Okay.
But
it
I
looks
already
like
know
a frothy beer when it does that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't need to do that. I know this yeast is good. In fact, it's already starting to do that.
Okay.
To that, I'm going to add 3 1/4 cups of flour.
All right.
And I'm going to incorporate that just a little bit here on a low speed.
With the dough hook.
Yes, everything's done with the dough hook.
There we go.
Backwards is the opposite.
Good.
Okay.
All right, and we're just incorporating that, mixing it in. How long do you mix it for?
Well, when you get everything in there, you should mix it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
We're going to use the Reader's Digest version today.
The quicker version. And scraping the sides in there.
Grab the bowl to get it mixed in a little better.
And is this an old school family recipe, or is this something you
It's kind of one that I've created.
All right. Which are the best recipes?
I've taken some recipes and modified them to my liking.
Okay.
My wife can tell you that I've been known to modify recipes.
She said she really liked this recipe, so we'll trust her.
Okay. To this, I'm going to add 1 egg.
All right. Where'd that egg come from?
Came from my mother's chicken house.
There you go.
You got to love your mother,
That's true.
I'm also going to add in 3 tablespoons of maple sugar.
Okay. What is maple sugar?
It's about the most concentrated. It is the most concentrated you can make maple syrup.
Okay.
Basically taken virtually
all the liquid out of it. So you got a big slab of butter.
I've got 5 ounces of butter to mix into that, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Okay, and you use kosher or iodized? Kosher.
This is sea salt.
Okay, great.
This is what my wife has.
It's got better
I
flavor.
use what my wife has.
You are a good man. You are trained well. And Mo, how's your sugar doing?
It's not doing bad.
Okay.
Basically, what we're trying to do here is we're taking pure maple syrup. Maple cream is pure maple again.
Okay.
It's probably one of the first products you're taking out some of the moisture.
Okay.
And then getting to a certain temperature. And what we're looking for is about 20 degrees above the boiling point of water, which syrup is usually, boiling at about 219, 220. So we're looking at about 232.
Sounds good.
And today we're trying to get up to about 234.
Oh, we're going to throw a little maple syrup in there just for a twist. Now, you can throw the maple syrup component in a little earlier with the yeast, or you can throw it in a little after. The dough usually rests, so it'll incorporate that. But it helps activate that yeast. It gives it something to eat. So you've got this, like a tart, right?
I've got, it was a brand new sheet.
But it's been used. It's got some love.
It's got some love. I just did a batch a few minutes ago.
Okay.
To do our magic stuff. And it's folded over many times. And what I've done is I've got it saturated with flour so my dough doesn't stick to it.
Great.
because this dough is a very sticky dough.
It is very sticky. You can't see it right now, but it is very, very ooey gooey.
This is mixed for approximately 10 minutes.
Okay. So we're just scraping the dough out, resting it on the flour, and then we're going to probably, what, spread it out?
We're going to spread it out, and we're going to roll it out.
Okay.
We're going to roll it out so it's about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick.
Okay. And usually, you know, when you're making doughs, a lot of people are kind of frightened by them. A lot of people are frightened by the yeast aspect. But, I mean, really, pizza dough, you know, a pastry dough, they're very simple to make. And especially if you use, you know, a controlled yeast or an activated yeast, you know, give it a try. It's much easier than you would think. And what are we gonna fill this with? It seems like you're rolling it out to do.
I'm rolling this out. What I've done is I've pre-made some egg wash where I took 2 tablespoons of milk.
Okay.
In 1 egg, and I mixed them up so it's incorporated quite well.
Okay. And egg wash works like a glue, kind of, right?
Yes. It's to glue the edges when you finish. What I'm going to do is.
And it makes it shiny.
No, we're not going to shine yet.
We're not going to. This is rustic cooking. There's no shiny involved.
We just put 1/2 inch wide strip along the edge.
Okay. And Mo, where's our syrup? Where's that at?
We're just about ready. We're at temperature that we have to take it off now, and what we have to do, we have to cool this. In order to turn it into maple cream, we have to cool it, and we have to get it down to a temperature of about 70 degrees or
what's the best way to cool it? I mean, do you
well,
just leave it in the stove?
Different ways. I find a small batch like this is cook it the night before and put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
And you get it down to well below 70 degrees.
Because once it's cool, you're whipping air into it, right?
Well, basically, you're just getting it to turn to sugar. In other words, just getting that gloss and making it turn into the maple cream, which it looks like this compared to right now. When we start to stir it, once this cools down, when we put it in here. We'll show you what it looks like, and then this is the product right here that we're looking at.
Great. So we got this all washed up. Now
I've got 1/2 cup of maple sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon.
So basically, cinnamon.
Mixing this up. Little jar works good as sugar. Mo, would you hand me my butter, please?
Ooh,
I have 5 tablespoons of melted butter here.
All right.
And I'm going to spread that over the top of my dough.
Okay.
Brushing it lightly, being careful not to go over into my egg wash.
All right.
Goes on the sheet, it's okay. That's how it gets stained. Now I'm going to add my sugar and cinnamon.
All right. And just kind of giving it a nice liberal coat the whole way over.
Yes, you want the butter to soak up the sugar and cinnamon. That gives it that nice gooey cinnamon flavor in the center.
And that's the whole point of having a maple cinnamon roll.
As the butter soaks up the cinnamon, it turns dark.
Yeah, sure does. And you're still you're staying away from that edge.
Trying to.
Well, you're doing a pretty good job at it.
Yeah,
so
sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
During maple season, I mean, your lives take a whole dramatic change in what you do. Do you guys offer a lot of activities for people to come out to the Sugarhouse?
A fair amount of activities. I make cinnamon buns. I get up at 3:30 in the morning to make cinnamon buns.
Wow.
And
what time do people start showing up for them?
Around 10 o'clock.
Wow. Let's start stuffing these cinnamon rolls.
Okay.
We got raisins?
I got raisins to put on top also. Raisins in there included.
And people can put nuts, if they're into that. I never like them with nuts.
Nah.
That's my thing.
I like it with raisins.
Raisins is a good way to go.
They're my cinnamon buns, so I make them my way. I've got 1/2 cup of raisins. And this batch will make about 2 dozen.
Okay.
Depending how thick you cut them. We'll get to that in a minute. I like lots of raisins. So my cup was a little heapy.
Okay. And then
Now we're going to roll this.
I'm gonna do this side for us too.
Why, thank you very much.
All right.
You're okay. I don't care what Mo says about you.
Well, we'll see what they taste like. Probably taste better with
before I
maple
close
cream
that
on it.
up,
Hopefully
I'm
my
gonna-
side will taste better.
Put just a little more wash onto it. Make
All
sure
right.
things stick good.
There we go. Doing the final seal up. You want me to grab the pan?
Yes, give me the
Great.
pan, please. I have a pan that I've pre-greased.
All right.
The first one doesn't have much cinnamon. You kind of
All right.
do away with that one. I cut these about 3/4 of an inch to an inch.
Okay. All right. So you cut and I'll place.
Okay. Should get 4 in a row.
All right.
Little space in between them.
And that's, you know, once they proof up, they're gonna kind of.
That will fill the pan. Trust me.
All right.
Sean, I'm going to show you here. We're ready to mix this.
Let's whip it up.
Look at that. You see what it looks like here? It's
Yeah, so
the same. It's very, very thick.
Yeah, it sure is.
So in order to make it turn, we need to have it thick like this. It has to be cooled down. If you don't cool it down enough, you're going to have an awful hard time making it turn into cream. So.
Yeah, throw it in there. And you're just putting a little more egg wash on there?
This is not egg wash. This is a little bit of cooking oil.
Okay.
And the reason I'm using a little bit of cooking oil is to keep the top of it soft and from burning.
Okay, there you go.
It's suntan lotion.
Suntan lotion for your oven. Man, that maple, it just looks delicious. I mean, it's just so shiny.
So it's shiny now, and when we get done, it's not going to be shiny anymore. That's what we're looking for when it's all done.
And so this we would proof.
For about 20 minutes
And
to
just
a
put
half
it in
hour.
a warm place, right?
Put it in a warm place so it like doubles.
All right, and this is what it would look like when it doubles,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we would bake this for about how long?
For about, put it on your oven. Some ovens it takes 20 minutes and some ovens it takes a half hour.
Okay, so in right about 350, 375, somewhere in there.
I usually use 375.
And so now you just got the maple reduction in there, and you're just whipping it?
It's just whipping it right.
All right.
And if you can already see it's starting to change color a little bit. But if you're looking there, Sean, it's already starting to get some light color to it.
It definitely is. I mean, how long do you have to whip it for to get it to that point?
Well, in this case here, it looks like we might be, I don't think we'll even another 5 minutes, 4 or
Well,
5
that's great.
minutes. But as I say, that little bowl
Yeah.
that I did a batch this morning, and I started just to make sure it was going to work, and it took me 20 minutes to do that amount, stirring it in my hand, both hands.
And you had to take 2 Advil
Oh yeah,
after
it's,
it, huh?
it's tough on the wrist.
So we're just whipping that. Our cinnamon rolls, you know, we
They
we
should
have
be
some that
ready.
we're just warming up for a second, so they're about good.
Very warm. Even though it's a magic oven, don't grab it by your hands. Set this down here so we don't burn the cupboard.
All right.
We got some maple cream for this here.
Oh, we're almost there. Oh, those smell really good.
They do. I mean, you can really smell that cinnamon. You can see the raisins up there. That nice shiny cover on there is great.
Well, while we're waiting for this to turn here, the other things, there's a lot of things going on during sugaring, but
Right.
also throughout the year. Like at the end of sugaring, you have the Maple Festival of St. Albans. That's
Which is
really,
a great festival. I
which
mean,
is a
that's
really
always a good
big
time
thing.
for people to come out.
You know, a lot of people attend that, so that's it. And then, of course, there's always maple at all the different fairs
Yep.
and field days throughout the year.
Addison County Field Days
County
is a
has
great
field
event.
day.
And they also, you guys do a cookbook, right?
Yes, we do a cookbook here. I have.
It seems like you have
Well,
a
the State
series of maple
Association has a
cookbooks.
couple of books. We have a couple of editions here. We have a second, third.
And I think one of these is going to be in the gift bag. So, you know,
Right.
you're calling in and donating to VPT
This-
for the gift basket.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 of them.
3 of them.
So, you know, it's a great cookbook. I mean, I have this in my house. If you live in Vermont, you need at least 1 to 4 maple cookbooks.
And there's a lot of the recipes. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if Richards is in here, but a lot of maple recipes that people have, you know, given out.
Richards doesn't share.
well, that's
Richard doesn't
true.
share his recipe. You have to come at
That's
10
right.
a.m. to eat it.
Come to
Unless you
Sugarhouse.
donate to public television, they have my recipe.
So what do you think, Richard? That done enough for your?
Yeah, we can go ahead with that. It'll work.
Here, you can dip out of there. I'll clean that off. How's that?
I'd steal some both of it.
That is a heck of a lot of maple cream. That is
To
great.
do a batch, it takes about 3/4 pound to a pound, depending how thick you put it on your cinnamon buns.
And we like lots of maple cream. And, you know, when you do this, I mean, when you ice them, they got to be warm, right?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, if they're cold, it just
This
doesn't...
this maple cream here is a little bit soft. Sometimes it's a lot stiffer.
Yep.
Especially if you keep it in the refrigerator, it's really stiff. So you need the heat of those warm cinnamon buns
Just so
to
it
kind of
spreads
soften
out.
it up so you can spread it easier.
Great. Do we get to eat one now? I don't know if I can wait. Do we get to...
You gotta wait a couple minutes because the first ones haven't quite softened up enough to brush in.
Oh, that's what we
Unless
gotta
you
do.
like it a big gob on top. You know, if you like a big gob on top.
I gotta say, I'm kind of partial to the big gob.
Okay, well, we can do that for you. Spread it around a little bit so you
All
get
right.
on all of them. If you just look under your counter to my right, you'll see a spatula.
Yep.
It makes it easier to get them out.
Perfect. Do we all get to eat one?
Sure. Sean,
Perfect.
you can have the first one.
I like the first one.
You've been such a good host. And my good friend Mo, would you like the second one?
Sure.
And see, I'm taking one after I make sure they live through this.
They are fantastic. I mean, the dough's great, the cinnamon's strong, but it doesn't dominate the maple. I mean, the maple really is the key ingredient to this whole thing. Richard, thank you for coming in. Head
You're
on
welcome.
out to Green Sugarhouse. I'll see you,
Thank you,
this
Tom.
spring for maple cinnamon runs.
Yep.
And Mo, thanks for coming out.